Hi, everyone. This is Paula Harris, and my guest today is Kellie Hobson with Luma Dentistry at the McCullough location. How you doing, Kellie?
I'm great.
All right. It's good to have you on the
Thank
call. And our title today, what we're going to talk about, we came up with this great title. I think it's fun. From Frazzled to Fun, an office manager story, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, Kellie has a great story. She's been an office manager and now a director of several offices. And I just really admire what you've done, Kellie, over the years and since I've known you. And I wanted you to tell a little bit of your story. So why don't you kind of start out just telling us a little bit about how you got into dentistry and how you ended up where you are today.
Okay, I'll be glad to. Thank you, Paula.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the dental industry for around 14 years. Started out at a small practice in Woodstock, Alabama, one doctor, two assistants, two hygienists. And I worked there as a financial coordinator for about 5 years. And I had the opportunity to come to Luma. At that time, it was called McCullough Dental.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to make the change. And I worked at Luma for about 9 months when they asked me to be their office manager. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
I had no clue. So, but yeah, I worked really hard and I learned a lot with your help, Paula. And, we just through different team members also helped me learn. So it was really good. I know one thing we talked about, the frazzled, I felt like when I stepped into it, some of the team was frazzled from people that had been, I guess, in place before. So, we kind of had to make that swap and, try to let them know that we're gonna have kindness and that's one thing that stuck with me is just always be kind and tactful even in hard situations. But anyway, as we added more locations, I then became the director and now I travel to all the locations, which I love because I get to see all the people and I just really love it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. You've done a great job. You really have in coming from within on the team. And I remember the people in place before you and what a struggle that was. And, a little bit of that is personality profiles. And most of the listeners understand DISC. And the person before you was pretty much hardline D.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
your disc, your DISC is not like that. You're more of, do you want to share what your disc is, what your DISC is?
Sure. I am an I, so I am all about the fun. I truly believe you work really hard, but also you play really hard too. So we love to have a good time, and I think that's one thing that helps make our team successful. So.
It does. That's definitely the truth. And, it's difficult being an office manager, being in that leadership position. Some office managers, maybe like the previous situation, get that power under their belt and maybe use it a little bit differently than they should.
Yes.
I hear that complaint from team all the time. Not that we want to trash anyone, but this role kind of has that tendency of getting into, they take off, they're not accountable to anybody. They're mean, they use their power, they use their positional leadership, and you really have not done that. In my opinion, you have gained the trust of your team. So, what are some of the ways that you think you've done that, Kellie, in gaining their trust?
I appreciate that, Paula. I think one of the biggest things for me is, if it's something I'm not willing to do myself, I don't think you should ask anybody else to do it. And this is kind of probably TMI, but, when the toilet gets stopped up, sometimes they will come get me and I will go and do it. You just have to do things like that and not think you're above that because nobody is. Yeah. And I think being humble and just helping out as much as you can and just being there for people and listening to what they have to say, I think has truly helped me.
I know you're right about that, for definitely. And the fun, we have that team loyalty survey. You know, we've talked about that several times with your team. The number one thing they want, which is appreciation and respect, and then number 2 is fun.
Yes.
And I tell you what, the culture you guys have, it's just amazing how much fun you have. So I want you to talk about that a little bit in a minute. But how has your practice changed? The path of your practice. Give me a little bit of history there.
Okay. We'll just kind of start before I came. In 2005, the doctors, they had one practice, and then they purchased a couple more practices in the same area, and then in 2010, they merged all those offices into one, McCullough Dental. And in that office, half of it was a pediatric office, half of it was our office. Then slowly but surely, we started adding practices. We added one in Centerville in 2012, and then we purchased another office in Centerville in 2014, and that kind of merged those two together. So, we have one. And then the pediatric office moved out of our McCullough location, and we expanded into the whole building, which gave us like 8 more operatories.
So how many total ops do you have there at the McCullough location?
At the McCullough, we have 19.
19, yeah. That's a lot. And how many doctors are in that location now?
There's 7 at McCullough. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot.
It is. So, yeah.
How many team? Do you know how many team are there at that location now?
There's 36 at the McCullough location. Yeah. So
that's awesome.
Surprisingly low drama for that many women.
I know. It really is. Yeah. So keep going.
Let's see. Okay. In 2017, the Hoover location was purchased, and then we rebranded as Luma in the beginning of last year, in January of 2018. And then our most recent purchase was our Montevallo office, and that was July of 2018. So,
right.
So we have a total of 4 right now, and it's a good mix.
It is. So total, you have. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 doctors total, maybe?
13 total doctors.
13 total.
70 team members, 41 operatories, and 4 practices.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Woo! That's a lot. That's a lot. It really has mushroomed. And then the partner doctors, there's 4 partners, right?
4, right. That's correct.
Okay. And one of the doctors is kind of the CEO, is also a dentist, which is unusual that you have a dentist like John that will want to do both, and he's very good at it. He's a spreadsheet king, isn't he?
Yes. He likes to do a little bit of everything.
He certainly is. Tell us a little bit about the mini teams at the McCullough location.
Okay, sure. Those, I guess, kind of what got us started on the mini teams. When we started purchasing more offices, we noticed that when myself or, Nina at that time was clinical coordinator, when we couldn't be around, like, they were like, who do we go to? So we decided to use some of our front desk members, and they are coordinators for their mini team. So they are kind of like mini office managers, and each team has a coordinator and a doctor, of course, and then 2 assistants and 2 hygienists. And the coordinator of that team, they're like, they sit in as an office manager for that team. So if we're away, that's who they go to. That's their go-to person is the coordinator. So it's kind of broke up into little groups at our 2 bigger locations, and then at our 2 smaller locations, there's just, that's the whole team there is the 1 doctor and the coordinator and the 2 hygienists and 2. So, but at the bigger locations, it's broke up into a bunch of little mini ones. So
yeah, and that's so wise. I mean, I worked in a practice similar to that situation, and we had the mini team kind of set up as well. When you get that many people, instead of everybody working for everybody, it's easier and much more effective to break it down into smaller groups. And I think that's worked really well for you. In fact, you saw a nice uptick in production right after you did that.
Yes, absolutely. And we had to work a little while on a few of the people just to kind of give them the confidence, like you can do this. You're going to make the right decision. But once they got there, it's been smooth sailing.
It has. It's really been amazing to see how that worked. I think let's talk a little bit more about the culture because, like you said, it's pretty low drama for that many people.
Right.
And
yes.
Let's talk about what your duties are right now and how that's changed since you bought more practices.
Oh, yeah, sure. So I guess, in the beginning, I was all things McCullough. So anything, that had to do with McCullough, when we were smaller, I did insurance, just everything. Now that I've kind of made the transition to director and I go to the different offices, I still do a few of the same things, but mainly, if there's training needed, I kind of handle refunds, sponsorship. I keep track of adjustments for all the offices. We have our core team is our management team, so I kind of we get together once a week and meet, and I kind of get everything ready for that, and just kind of being there for the team. Like if they need somebody to talk to, and I'm there, I try to build a relationship with them, wherever I go, because if you have a relationship with someone, they're more than likely, if they're having problems, they'll come talk to you about it. So
yes,
that's a big suggestion is build those relationships.
And you have done that so well. I think, like I said a few minutes ago, you've built trust with them and you've also created safety. Yeah. And, most teams, back to DISC, most teams have a lot of S personalities and your team is no exception. Right?
Yes, that's exactly right.
And you have to have safety or they will not share. You will not find out what's going on. So I applaud you for that, building those relationships. Tell me a little bit more about CORE and what that is and how you came up with that.
Okay. So CORE is our management team. There's like the main core, then we have a few what we call field agents that are on CORE. And there's 3 of us team members and then Dr. John. And then we have 2 others that's the field agents I was referring to. And they go to the other practices as well. Right now we have I guess not most recent, but the South Lake office, their office manager that was in place there, we actually just swapped around her and Nina, that is a field agent, at McCullough, just to kind of shake things up because there's a few things going on at South Lake that we want them to be kind of more McCullough-like. Yeah. So, but yeah, so they'll go out, what we say, in the field and, go kind of help out where they're needed. If there's training needed, they go do that as well. And, but we'll meet, like I said, at CORE once a week and kind of go through and we gather up all the information from the practices, see what they need, what's going on, where can we help, and just figure all that out and go where we're needed. Yeah,
and the CORE has really worked. I think that originated in my mind from a concept of, you have your department leaders, like when you create a chain of command, which you guys have been really good at getting a chain of command going, which is so important. I mean, the team needs to know. So you've got, your doctors, and then you've got you, and you've got CORE, you've got your department leaders, practice coordinators, now that you have many teams and things like that. So having representation, originally the idea is to have a representation from all departments in one core group. So that can be played different ways. And so you're more effective with, 4 or 5 people in the room than you are with 36.
Absolutely. Yes.
You get more done and more talked about, and then that can trickle down through the chain of command. So that's a really good concept that you've stuck with over the last few years. So, 2 things: personal growth and conflict management. I'd like for you to just talk a little bit about that. What would you like to say about personal growth for yourself and for your team, and is that important to your practice? How do you work with that with a team member?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so conflict management, I think when I first stepped into the office manager role, I remember being scared to death. Like, you want me to go in the consult room and tell them what? I mean, they're going to be so mad at me. They're going to hate me.
I know.
But, you really, after you do it a few times, it's okay. But just remember to be, I always say, firm and friendly and be tactful and put yourself in that person's shoes if you're, having to go in. One thing we do is a 5-step conversation. If there's a conflict with 2 team members, they can't work it out themselves, we'll sit down in the consult room and let them talk it out. And myself or someone's in there with them making notes, trying to figure out where we went wrong. A lot of times it's just a misunderstanding. But to begin with, that was very scary for me. But now it works so well because I think that is why we have, no, I'm not going to say no drama, but not a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Because we say we nip it in the bud. We'll
That's
go in the
right.
consult room, talk it out. So.
And you do. I mean, that's part of your culture now. And let's just review. I'm going to review the 5 steps real quick, just for those that don't know what that is. The first one is start where you can agree. The second one is state the facts. The third one is how you feel about those facts in I statements, not attacking anyone. Fourth one is solutions. Fifth one is follow-up and consequences or next step. I remember when you were scared to death to do that, and we coached a lot through conversations, and now you kind of know it like the back of your hand, don't you?
Yes. I've got it down.
Yeah, and you've been able to help other people, and when people come to you with the drama, you're just like, well, it sounds like we need to pull everybody in the room, and you don't get triangulated.
Right.
Where, he said, she said, and then you have to go talk to them, and they said, no, that's not how it happened. And
the back and forth, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
If everybody's in there, you can just settle it then.
That's exactly. Get all parties in the room, and if you've got that big of a complaint, you have to be responsible to talk about it to the people that you're upset with. And that is something I have seen you guys grow with in the last couple of years, where it's just, okay, it's time for a 5-step, and y'all just get it done and stop it then. And I think that's built a lot of respect for you, Kellie, being able to handle those conflict situations well, and you are tactful and you are firm and friendly.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, very, very good. So, I think expecting personal growth from your team has been a good thing. And you've seen that happen with your team when they learn how to do this too, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's kind of like with your kids, they learn by watching you. So, in heated situations, sometimes it's really hard to remain calm, but you just have to take a deep breath and just get it figured out. So,
yeah, that's right. And even I have to say this about you. I think some of your doctors have learned from you about doing this. And it helps you in your personal life too, doesn't it?
Yes, that is definitely the case.
Yeah, I know it did for me. I think I learned it when my last kid was 16. I wish I'd learned it much sooner. So, well, tell us a little bit about some of the fun things you do. One of the things I love about you guys with Fun and Appreciation is your Facebook page. Tell us about that.
Sure. So we have a Facebook group page, and everyone at every location is on there. Paula is on there, and just kind of different people that work with us. They're on our group page, and it is a great communication tool. We post, our team members will get on there, and like sometimes, if one office borrows like an assistant, a lot of times the girls at that office, one of them will get on there and say, thank you so much for coming to help us today. We couldn't have done it without you. So they just get on there and appreciate each other.
Yes.
And it's really nice. Sometimes there's motivational quotes that different people will post and updates for upcoming meetings and just funny things, birthdays. It's really good. And I'm really proud of that we can go on there and have that to share. And it's just, like I said, it's just a great communication tool.
And by the way, that's a closed group. That's a private. Yes. No one else sees that. But yes, I just really enjoy being a part of that. And you're exactly right. You have announcements going on there, but the level of appreciation, the positivity Some people are afraid to set those up because people start, slamming things. I have not seen that on your page.
No, most of the time they get on there and it's usually very positive. And, if one office sees another one doing that, a lot of times it encourages them to do that as well. So then they're like, oh, well, I need to say thank you for this or whatever. So it's really good. It kind of rubs off on the other offices when they see that.
It does. And I've seen lots of things like somebody will bring somebody a donut or a cup of coffee or a milkshake, and they're taking a picture of it and thank you so much, and the appreciate notes. I mean, it just really encourages that culture of appreciation, and I just applaud you for what you've done with that as a team building exercise or system that you have. It really works, and all the doctors are on there too. So, and then tell us some. And you guys have been like one of the most creative with bonus, and bonus is always a huge topic. So tell us some of the history of your bonus programs. You've got so many things that y'all have done.
Yes, we like to change it up, every year or every couple of years. What I think one of the most fun things that we did, we had McCullough Books, and this is when we were a little bit smaller, probably just the McCullough location, but each doctor and myself, and at that time Nina was a clinical coordinator, we all took crazy pictures of ourselves and had them printed on green sheets of paper that looked like dollar bills, and we called them McCullough Books. And anytime one of the team members, like, they're kind of caught in the act doing something good, maybe they're picking up some paper in the floor or they stayed late to see a patient, we would give them a McCullough book. And at the end of the month, we would go upstairs to our meeting room and have an auction and have prizes like luggage, concert tickets, sometimes vacations, a spa day, and they could bid on those with their McCullough books, and that they could carry them over like to the next month if they didn't want to bid on anything that month. But that was just a lot of fun because we would write on the back of the McCullough book, thank you for doing this, and then give it to them so they know what they're being appreciated for, and then they get to spend that McCullough book at the auction.
Oh, that was so fun. I remember seeing some of the auctions set up and everything. I'm like, oh, wow, this is so cool. That was a great one. What else have you done?
It may have been right after that. We did one where we strictly went to individual bonuses. So if we hit a certain goal, there was a certain amount of money that was divvied out, and it got put on everybody's paycheck. And of course, the team loved that too. But the problem with that one was, if you're wanting to encourage team building, it didn't really allow us any extra money for team building because the bonus was just getting put on their paycheck and they were taking it home. I'm not downing an individual bonus, but I think there's a good mix. You can do both. So, so that one was good. And then currently what we have, I think we were talking about this the other day, each little mini team has sort of like a prepaid, I guess, credit card. We call them PEX cards. Yeah. And when we hit a certain goal, there's an amount, and it is split between some of that gets divvied out to all the mini teams' PEX cards, and then some of it does get put for an individual bonus that, all the team members take home. And what the PEX cards are used for is for team building. So they will, some of them have been to Jamaica. They'll bank up their money on their PEX card and take a vacation. Some will do go-kart racing and, just go out to eat with their families, like the entire team with their families. So they just do things like that for team building. And it's probably my favorite bonus so far.
Oh, yeah. And that's PEX, right? PEX?
Yes,
PEX. Because that's a website that actually has that system. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay. I know. I remember the one team that went to Jamaica. That was awesome, and it was all off of the things they had earned. And what a treat! What a treat to be able to do something like that.
And then currently we're, of course, we're the queen and kings of change at Luma. But we talked about this a little bit the other day. Is we're wanting each mini team monthly to get like a report card, and so they kind of know what areas they need to work on, and depending on what they get on that report card will kind of reflect what bonus they get if a goal is hit. So, like if they get a couple F's, you're not going to get a bonus. So we're working towards that, hoping to have that finished up by the first quarter of this year. So,
what are some of the things on the report card?
There are clinical notes. Where we're going to audit like 10 charts for each mini team and make sure the clinical notes are written up. This is basically for the coordinators. They answer the phones, and a lot of times we'll have one that they don't answer a lot of phones and one that answer a whole lot, and we're trying to get them more equaled out. Yeah. So that's one of the things on there. Perio charting. We have team attitude. So it's quite a few things on there that we're going to try to, a lot of them are measurable. We can look at the numbers and kind of figure out where they need to go.
Because your phone system measures the number of calls coming in and answered and things like that. That's why you can measure that. Yes. So absolutely, these are, I was talking to someone this morning. I said, a lot of times when we think of goal setting, we're just thinking production collections and that type thing. But there's so much more.
Absolutely.
to that. And even personal growth items. Personal growth precedes professional growth. And when you're helping a team member grow in their personal life, I was having a conversation this morning about the gap sometimes between you've got doctors who are doctors, and then you've got team members who may have finished high school or maybe not finished high school, and you've got a knowledge gap sometimes, and then you have an emotional maturity gap in some cases, and really helping those team members grow in their personal lives has a direct impact on the growth of the practice.
Right.
And I know that was true for me in my situation. And, instead of team members coming and living in drama all day in their personal lives, they're learning how to deal with that, learning how to separate their personal life from their professional and be on stage when they're in the building and things like that. So, I know our time is about up, but I just want to applaud you, Kellie, for the things that you have done to bring that appreciation and fun into the practice, and it's consistent. It's not like we do it for a little while and then we drop off. No, you guys have systemized it. You realize it's the number one and number two important things, and you keep that rolling, and you're very creative. You're always changing, like you said. And how does that roll with your team when you're changing bonus a lot?
I think most people have gotten used to, change because, we'll tell them if we change something and it's not working well, and, we'll either change it back or change to something else. And I think most people are comfortable with that now.
Okay.
But, it's good to change things up. And I mean, you're kind of talking about appreciation. We truly appreciate our team members. They work really, really hard. So, it's fun to think of new things you can appreciate them with. And, you want to cater the bonus system to, how can we make it better? Yeah. So that's just constantly what we're trying to do.
That's great. Some teams have bonuses that have been in place for years, and it's just not motivating anymore.
Right.
So I like that. I like what you said, and I think we'll probably close with that change, change is one of the biggest objections I hear, is that team doesn't like change. And if they trust that you're changing, but if it's not working, you'll change again, I think that can build some safety and some security for them. So that's a really good answer.
Right. And that just comes with time. I mean, we have changed a couple of things here and there, and we've had to change them again immediately. And, once your team realizes that you're going to take care of them, then they'll trust you.
That's exactly right. And that's the thing, building trust. And you've done a great job with that. So, Kellie, I just want to thank you for joining me on a call today and sharing your story with others. I know this is going to help a lot of people, and just admire you, and you're just one of my friends.
Well, thank you, Paula. I definitely love you, and you have helped me grow so much, and I really appreciate that.
Well, you're welcome. You're a great person, and I love your heart. So. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And if you have questions, let me know. And if there's something we didn't make clear, or you have a question for Kellie, let me know, and we'll get in touch and figure it out. So have a great day, and thank you again, Kellie.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.